It was a Tuesday that began like any other in the glossy world of Hollywood. It's the kind of morning when the sun filtered through the high-rise windows of a Los Angeles studio and the coffee machines hummed in the background while agents and assistants shuffled through endless emails. But by mid-afternoon, the day would take a turn that no one could have predicted. A turn that would send shockwaves through fan forums, political talk shows, and the endless scroll of social media feeds. Because a beloved actor, someone whose name has been synonymous with charm, generosity, and a seemingly endless list of box office hits, had just posted a video that would ignite a firestorm. And the actor in question was none other than Chris Pratt, the affable star who had won the hearts of millions as the quick-witted Peter Quill in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. Few had later taken on the mantle of the heroic, all-American cowboy in the Magnificent Seven, and who, despite his larger-than-life on-screen personas, had cultivated an image of a down-to-earth family man, a devoted husband and father who often shared candid moments of backyard barbecues, puppy rescues, and heartfelt thank-you notes to his fans, a reputation that made the video he posted that afternoon all the more jarring. For in a short 45-second clip filmed on the set of his upcoming action comedy, Pratt could be seen standing beside a towering, gleaming statue that was unmistakably a reimagined Superman. The iconic S emblem replaced not with the familiar blue and red shield, but with the stark white letters of ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement tatched across a silver background. The cape a muted navy, the pose identical to the classic heroic stance. And as the camera panned, Pratt, with his trademark grin, placed a hand on the statue's chest and said, "Sometimes the world needs a different kind of hero, someone who protects the borders and keeps the streets safe." Before the clip cut to a quick montage of the actor's previous charitable work, a reminder of his involvement with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, his donations to disaster relief, and his public support for various environmental causes. A juxtaposition that left viewers reeling, and within minutes the video was shared, liked, and commented on by millions, the comment section exploding with a cacophony of reactions that ranged from bewildered admiration, "Chris, you're always pushing boundaries, love it," to outright outrage, "This is a disgrace, you're endorsing a hateful agency." And the hashtag #ICeSuperman began to trend on Twitter, a digital wildfire that was fanned by memes, reaction videos, and a slew of news outlets that scrambled to make sense of what appeared to be a simple promotional stunt that had suddenly become a cultural flashpoint. The first major news story to break the next morning was a piece on a leading entertainment website that framed the incident as Chris Pratt's unexpected endorsement of ICE sparks nationwide debate, a headline that set the tone for the days that followed, as talk show hosts on morning television invited political analysts, immigration advocates, and pop culture commentators to dissect the clip, each trying to parse whether Pratt's gesture was a genuine political statement, a misguided marketing ploy, or perhaps a satirical jab that had been misread. And the conversation quickly spiraled beyond the confines of a single video, because the symbolism of Superman emblem, of hope, truth, and justice that has been a cultural touchstone for generations, being co-opted by an agency that many associate with controversial immigration enforcement tactics, family separations, and a broader national debate over border policies struck a nerve that resonated deeply with a country already divided along political lines. And as the story unfolded, the actor's publicist issued a brief statement that read, "Chris Pratt's intention was to highlight the importance of protecting our communities, and any misunderstanding is regretted." A line that did little to quell the growing chorus of criticism, prompting a wave of op-eds in major newspapers that argued the video was tone-deaf at best and dangerous propaganda at worst, while others defended Pratt, pointing to his history of supporting bipartisan causes and suggesting that the clip was taken out of context, perhaps part of a larger narrative arc for an upcoming film that would explore the complexities of heroism in a modern world. a theory that only added layers to the speculation, and the internet, ever hungry for drama, turned the clip into a meme factory, with Photoshop artists swapping the ICE logo for everything from pizza slices to cat faces. While political satire shows aired skits that imagined a world where Superman swapped his cape for a badge, and the actor himself found himself at the center of a digital courtroom where every tweet, every Instagram story, and every Reddit thread became a piece of evidence in a trial of public perception. And as the days turned into a week, the backlash grew more organized, with immigration advocacy groups releasing statements condemning the glorification of ICE, calling it a blatant endorsement of policies that have torn families apart, and staging protests outside the studio where the video was filmed holding signs that read "Superheroes stand for all, not just some," while on the other side, a coalition of law and order supporters rallied in support of the actor's message, arguing that the nation needed strong enforcement to protect its citizens. And they praised Pratt for using his platform to bring attention to a cause they felt was underrepresented in Hollywood. The polarization was palpable, and the media coverage reflected that split, with some outlets framing the story as a cautionary tale about celebrity influence on political discourse, while others portrayed it as an example of how the entertainment industry can be weaponized by political agendas. And amidst the swirl of opinions, Pratt's own voice was largely absent, his next public appearance being a low-key interview on a late-night talk show where the host, with a mix of humor and earnest curiosity, asked him directly, "Chris, what were you really trying to say with the ICE Superman?" And after a pause that seemed to stretch for an eternity, Pratt looked into the camera, his eyes betraying a flicker of uncertainty, and replied, "I guess I wanted to start a conversation about what it means to protect people, but I didn't think I'd be the one to spark this kind of fire." A moment that felt both sincere and vulnerable. And the host, sensing the gravity, followed up with, "Do you stand behind the policies of ICE?" To which Pratt, after a breath, said, "I support keeping our borders safe. But I also believe we need compassion and a path forward for those who are seeking a better life." A response that seemed to attempt a middle ground, but for many, it was too little, too late, and the interview quickly went viral, the clip being replayed on news cycles, dissected by pundits who argued whether Pratt had simply tried to be politically relevant or whether he had inadvertently lent legitimacy to an agency that many view as a symbol of oppression. And the fallout didn't stop there, because the studio behind his upcoming film announced a pause on the project's marketing, citing the need to reassess the messaging in light of recent events. A decision that sent ripples through the industry, prompting other studios to examine their own promotional strategies for potential political landmines. And the actor's sponsors began to weigh in, with a major sportswear brand that had a long-standing partnership with Pratt, releasing a statement that they respect the diverse viewpoints of our community and will review our collaborations to ensure alignment with our values, a move that sparked speculation about whether the partnership would survive, while a charitable organization that Pratt had championed for years announced they would be temporarily suspending any joint initiatives until further notice. A decision that left fans heartbroken because the actor's philanthropic image had been a cornerstone of his public persona, and now it seemed to be unraveling under the weight of a single controversial gesture. And as the weeks turned into a month, the narrative began to shift from immediate outrage to a more nuanced discussion about the responsibilities of celebrities in the political arena, with scholars of media ethics publishing papers on the Superman effect, a term they coined, to describe how iconic symbols, when repurposed by public figures, can either reinforce or undermine societal values. And they argued that Pratt's video, intentional or not, had become a case study in the power of visual rhetoric, a reminder that the line between art and advocacy is often blurred, especially when the canvas is a beloved cultural icon, and the public, ever fickle, began to show signs of fatigue. The initial fire of anger giving way to a more measured, if still critical, reflection, as some fans expressed disappointment, but also a willingness to forgive, citing Pratt's previous apologies for missteps, while others remained steadfast, vowing to boycott his future projects and the actor. Perhaps learning from the experience, took to his personal Instagram a week later, posting a black and white photo of himself standing in front of a simple, unadorned American flag captioned, "I'm listening, I'm learning, and I'm sorry for the hurt I caused." A message that, while brief, seemed to acknowledge the depth of the wound he had inflicted and the comment section, once a battlefield of accusations, softened into a chorus of cautious hope, with longtime fans writing, "We love you, Chris, just keep being you," and critics noting, "At least he's taking responsibility." A small but meaningful shift that hinted at the possibility of redemption, and as the dust settled, the incident left an indelible mark on the cultural conversation, reminding us that symbols like Superman carry weight far beyond the pages of comic books, that the intersection of celebrity and politics is a volatile space where a single misstep can reverberate across the nation, and that the public's appetite for accountability is insatiable, a lesson that will likely echo in boardrooms, PR departments, and the hearts of actors who, like Chris Pratt, find themselves navigating the treacherous waters of fame, influence, and personal conviction. And, as the final credits of this saga roll, we are left with a lingering question that feels both personal and universal. What does it truly mean to be a hero in a world where the line between protector and oppressor can be as thin as a painted emblem? And perhaps the answer lies not in the grand gestures captured on camera, but in the quieter moments of reflection, apology, and the willingness to grow. A narrative that, while born from a controversial video, may ultimately become a story of humility, learning, and the enduring. Hope that even the most beloved among us can stumble, rise, and strive to become the kind of hero the world needs, not just the one it expects.